Okay, quick tutorial on how to use the scene loader. So first things first, get your scene ready. You need to split up your big level into chunks. Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3. This is Sector 1, this is Sector 2, this is Sector 3. Ignore the rest of this stuff. Now, once you've got that in your base scene, the base scene needs to hold any object that needs to be persistent throughout the entire level. So for example, you have the character controller, you have your directional light, and then you need empty game objects here that just simply indicate where scene sits in the overworld. Think of base as overworld. So now, here's how we install the plugin. So I have a GitHub page here. You can feel free to read the docs. I'm not going to go through them right now, but I would recommend installing it through GitHub or Git URL. So you can just copy this link here. You go to Unity, you go back to your package manager, and we will add one from the Git URL. I'll add here, add. I did fetch that for a second. Okay, so I already have the package installed here, but in case you don't have it installed, it'll ask you to install it. But I'll just quickly check for an update to make sure I didn't update it by mistake, but it should just be the same thing. There you go. Once you've got the package manager updated and you've got the loader there, it should tell you that, hey, it's ready to use, we're good to go. So now, the key points here, I won't go over them, but I would recommend reading into the Unity asynchronous scene loading Unity glue thing. It's linked in the docs somewhere there. And I would also recommend just checking out Unity's video on asynchronous scene loading. I actually got the inspiration to make this tool from there. So what we got to do here is Sector 2. We know that Sector 2 is somewhere here, and it ends there. So when do we start loading this sector in? We probably want to load it when the player is entering through here. So we're going to need something that tells it that, hey, once you cross this section, load in these things. Okay, go into the game object you want to add the triggers to, and you see a button here that says add trigger. And you notice a new object gets added here called the spooky trigger. So spooky trigger is simply just a box collider and a script that has an event. So this event is called to do a specific thing whenever you cross the trigger. So in this case, when you cross this trigger, it would tell Sector 2 that, hey, someone's entered our exit and enter gateway. So please do XYZ. So spooky trigger is just a trigger. Don't stress too much about this thing. You just need that box collider. So in this case, we want our scene to probably load in somewhere around there. Just check to make sure it's in the right place. Move that back. Okay, sick. And now we're going to be like, okay, where does scene 2 exit? We probably exit somewhere around here. I'm pretty sure by this door, we can just check real quick. So unload it. So when the player gets here, they won't be able to see that. Okay, cool. So we load back the scene. So still on that same Sector 2 section, you can click add trigger. It'll create you another trigger here. So we can take this trigger and let's put it somewhere here. Change that by 90 degrees. That here. Just check that it's all lined up. All good. Bam. Okay, sick. So I'm going to quickly do a speed run, just fixing up the rest of the triggers. Feel free to watch. Sorry, this is post-edit Taku. I forgot to mention that you probably need to add your scenes into build settings. So you just go build settings, make sure you toss in your scenes there, and then you're good to go. Thanks. Okay, so as you can see, we've added up all our triggers here, and we can just do a quick check here just to see that everything's all good. Let's select all these. There you go. So now you've got your triggers where you need them to. So scene 2 is a bit of a special case. Scene 2 has 2 spooky triggers, but that's mainly because it's a middle point, you know? So you select these 2, and you notice that they have triggers there and there. That just tells it that, hey, if you go through here, do we unload scene, load scene, do your thing. When you go through here, do we load on scene, do your thing. So that's why we leave that there. Otherwise, sector 1, which is just the entrance, doesn't need more than 1 trigger. And sector 3 doesn't need more than 1 trigger. So this often does come down to the game designer. The game designer needs to look at this thing and say, okay, where do I need a trigger point? Where do I need another one? You need to figure out that, okay, will the player be able to see this part of the map at any given time? Will the player be able to see that part of the map? And some games solve this using stuff like volumetric fog, and some don't, which is where you then notice stuff like pop-up happen. But in this case, you set it up like this, and you're almost good to go. So the next thing you want to do is you just now want to unload the scenes you don't actually need. So example, we don't need scene 2, we don't need scene 3. And what we make sure we do is you just tell it that, hey, what scene is loaded? So at the start of the game, only sector 1 is loaded. So you click is loaded. For the rest of these 2, they stay unticked because they're not currently loaded. So now we can play the game and kind of see what it looks like. Let's make it focused, and I'll keep the stats on so you can check the FPS. So play. Okay, so we're getting about 90, 81 FPS. So you go in, if you can see to the other side, the chunks of the levels load in as you go about, and then when they're not needed, they're taken out of memory. And it's a pretty handy little feature. You keep going, keep going, keep going, bam. That other stuff gets loaded out. Go back, we check through. Should load back in the next part. There you go. It's right back where we need it. Cool stuff, cool stuff, cool stuff. Yeah. Anyway, going back to the actual thing. So yeah, that's about the tutorial. Feel free to use the tool. Give me any updates. Give me any feedback on the video. If I missed something or if I didn't explain anything properly, please, please, please tell me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Good luck, fuck around, and have fun.